The metallic crash of a lunch tray hitting the cafeteria floor echoed like thunder. Sophia Bennett felt her body being dragged across the cold linoleum, her long hair sweeping through puddles of spilled soda. Dylan Whitmore's grip on her collar was iron-tight as he yanked her away from the corner table where she'd eaten alone for 3 months straight. "I told you to get away from the VIP table, you worthless piece of trash!" Dylan's voice boomed across the packed cafeteria, commanding the attention of 200 students eating lunch. Nobody moved. Nobody dared. Sophia struggled against the 2 lackeys holding her arms, blood trickling from her scraped elbow. But the strangest thing wasn't her pain or humiliation. It was her eyes. They held no fear, only a quiet pity as she looked at Dylan. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." Before we dive deeper into what happened that day at Preston Elite Academy, I want to take a moment to say that if you've ever experienced bullying or know someone who has, you're not alone. These stories need to be told, and your voice matters. If this story resonates with you, please hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences help build a community where everyone feels heard and supported. Now, let's return to that cafeteria, where everything was about to change forever. Preston Elite Academy stood as Connecticut's most expensive private school, with tuition reaching $150,000 per year. Here, money dictated everything from classroom seating to parking spot assignments. Sophia Bennett was the sole exception, a full scholarship student with worn clothes and a self-cut hairstyle that screamed poverty to her wealthy peers. Dylan Whitmore ruled Preston like a teenage emperor. As the son of Whitmore Industries' CEO, he commanded a gang comprising the school's most powerful students. Jake Morrison, whose father served as a federal judge. Ethan Cross, heir to a hotel chain empire. Brittany Vale, daughter of a sitting senator. Together, they formed an untouchable circle of privilege and cruelty. But Dylan's power extended beyond family wealth. Whispers circulated about his dealings within school walls. Secret basement parties. 3 students who had supposedly committed suicide last year. Dark rumors that nobody dared investigate. "Are you deaf?" Dylan snarled, kicking Sophia in the stomach. She doubled over, gasping for air. "This table is reserved for people with class, not garbage like you." The entire cafeteria fell silent. 200 pairs of eyes watched, but no one intervened. Even the security guard by the door turned away, pretending not to notice. Sophia slowly pushed herself up, wiping blood from her split lip with a trembling hand. I just wanted to eat my lunch." "Eat?" Brittany laughed, a sound like breaking glass. She grabbed a full tray and dumped its contents over Sophia's head. Red spaghetti sauce dripped down her face, mixing with tears she refused to shed. "Pigs should eat in the pen where they belong." The laughter that erupted felt like physical blows. Sophia bent to retrieve her backpack, which Dylan had thrown to the floor. As she reached for it, Jake's foot connected with her spine, sending her sprawling face first. "Go back to Arkansas or wherever you crawled out from," Ethan shouted. "This school isn't meant for poor losers." Sophia didn't react with anger. Instead, she glanced at the digital clock on the wall, noting the time with strange precision. Something about her calm demeanor in the midst of chaos sent an uncomfortable ripple through her tormentors. The contents of her backpack scattered across the floor when Jake kicked it. Books, worn notebooks, and something else. A phone that skittered across the tiles. Dylan snatched it up, his brow furrowing at the device's unusual appearance. This wasn't any smartphone a poor student could afford. The device featured a matte, black titanium military casing, bulletproof glass screen, and strange connection ports Dylan had never seen before. "Who'd you steal this from?" he demanded, turning the phone over in his hands. Unknown to him, this was government-grade security equipment, the kind with quantum encryption capabilities, real-time satellite tracking through military networks, and, most importantly, an emergency panic button connected directly to FBI headquarters. Every conversation within 5 meters was being recorded with forensic clarity. "Give it back," Sophia said quietly, the first hint of genuine concern creeping into her voice. "Maybe I'll flush it down the toilet instead," Dylan sneered, pocketing the device. The mystery deepened as Dylan hauled Sophia from the cafeteria, his gang trailing behind like hyenas following a lion. They shoved her into the girls' bathroom and locked the door behind them. "No one can save you now," Jake laughed, pulling out his phone to record. "Let's give everyone a show." Brittany grabbed a fistful of Sophia's hair, yanking hard enough to elicit a cry of pain. "What's wrong? I thought you were tougher than this." Through her pain, Sophia muttered something under her breath. It sounded like counting. 13 minutes remaining. "You're making a huge mistake," Sophia whispered, but her words were lost in the cruel laughter. Dylan pulled out a switchblade, the metal gleaming under fluorescent lights. "How about we give her a haircut? Make her as ugly outside as she is inside?" The bathroom door suddenly exploded inward. 3 seniors from Dylan's gang burst in, faces flushed with panic. "Boss! Emergency!" one gasped. "Cops just busted Spider in the parking lot. Found 2 kilos in his trunk." Dylan's face drained of color. "How did they know?" "No idea. But they're searching everyone's lockers right now." Dylan whirled on Sophia, his eyes wild with paranoia. "It's you! You did something, didn't you?" "I don't know what you're talking about." Sophia shook her head, but something in her tone made Dylan's blood run cold. "Search her bag," he commanded. Ethan dumped Sophia's backpack contents onto the bathroom floor. Textbooks, worn school supplies, and then a small black device with a blinking red light. "What the hell is this?" Jake picked it up, examining the sleek gadget. The device bore a faint FBI logo in the corner, barely visible unless you knew where to look. "It's a recorder," Brittany breathed. "She's been recording us!" Dylan snatched the device and smashed it against the tile floor, stomping on the pieces until they were unrecognizable. "You little snitch! You're a cop? FBI planted you here?" Sophia remained silent, her eyes fixed on the wall clock showing 10:48. She whispered, 7 minutes. "Wait!" Ethan pointed at Sophia's laptop, peeking out from her bag. "Check this!" He flipped it open, revealing an interface unlike any normal student software. Investigation Management System glowed across the header. This was the specialized legal database system used by FBI and federal prosecutors for evidence management. The software featured metadata analysis capabilities, deleted data recovery, blockchain evidence tracking, and critically, automatic backup to secure servers every 30 seconds. Every video, recording, and message Dylan had ever sent was categorized into case files. The implications hit them like a sledgehammer. This wasn't just any laptop. It was a digital weapon loaded with enough evidence to destroy lives. "Files about us." Jake's face went pale. "She has everything. Party videos, product messages, client lists." The revelation sent shockwaves through the group. Dylan grabbed Sophia by the collar, slamming her against the wall with enough force to rattle the mirrors. "Who are you?" "Let me go," Sophia said, her voice suddenly cold and authoritative. "Final warning. Warning my—" Dylan drew back his fist. In a movement too fast to follow, Sophia caught his wrist, pivoted, and twisted his arm behind his back in a perfect control hold. The technique was flawless, speaking of years of professional training. 5 minutes until arrival, Sophia whispered in Dylan's ear. Just enough time for you to decide if you want to be arrested here or try running. My name is Sophia Bennett, she announced clearly, all traces of fear evaporated. Daughter of FBI Director Marcus Bennett. And you just walked into the biggest undercover operation in academic crime history. The group stood frozen in shock. Dylan struggled against the hold, but Sophia's grip was unbreakable despite her smaller size. 3 months, she continued calmly. 3 months I've documented every drug deal in these bathrooms, every secret party in the basement, every message about profit sharing with the administration. You're lying, Jake lunged forward, but Sophia swept his legs with her free foot, sending him crashing to the wet floor. Stephen Chen, Ashley Morrison, David Park. Sophia recited the names like a prayer. 3 students who supposedly killed themselves last year. But I have evidence you murdered them for trying to leave your organization. The truth hung in the air like a death sentence. This wasn't just a case of bullying. This was organized crime operating under the cover of teenage delinquency. Delete everything, Dylan screamed. Destroy her laptop. But Sophia's laugh was cold as winter. Too late. Everything's been uploading to FBI servers for the past 3 months. Every time you hurt someone, every threat, every extortion, all documented, all saved, all waiting for this moment. Ethan made a desperate grab for the laptop, but Sophia released Dylan and intercepted him with a palm strike that sent him reeling backward. Her movements were economical, precise, not the actions of a scared teenager, but a trained operative. You want to know the best part? Sophia asked, straightening her sauce-stained shirt. Your basement laboratory? We've known about it for months. The 2 missing students? We found them last week. This entire school is surrounded right now. Dylan's phone buzzed, then Jake's, then Brittany's. They all showed the same emergency alert. FBI operation in progress. Preston Elite Academy lockdown. No, no, no! Dylan pounded on the locked bathroom door, suddenly realizing they'd trapped themselves. This can't be happening! Your father's being arrested at his office as we speak, Sophia informed him casually. Whitmore Industries' entire money laundering operation through this school? Done. The network of dealers, the cryptocurrency accounts, the offshore holdings? We have it all. Brittany collapsed against the sink, sobbing hysterically. My dad's going to kill me. He's a senator. This will ruin everything. Should have thought about that before you helped murder 3 students, Sophia replied without sympathy. Heavy footsteps thundered in the hallway outside. Multiple sets, moving with military precision. The sound of doors being kicked open echoed through the building. Room by room, they were conducting a systematic sweep. There has to be a way out. Jake frantically searched for windows, air vents, anything. But the bathroom was an interior room with no escape routes. I can make a deal, Dylan shouted desperately. I know things, important things about the operation. Sophia checked her watch. 2 minutes, you can try explaining that to my father. Your father? Director Marcus Bennett. Did I stutter? Sophia pulled out a second phone. This one clearly government issue. He's been wanting to meet you for a very long time. Something about justice for those 3 dead kids. The weight of their situation finally crashed down on them. This wasn't a prank gone wrong or a case of bullying they could buy their way out of. This was federal crime. This was life in prison. This was the end of everything they'd known. Dylan made one last desperate move. He grabbed Brittany and held the switchblade to her throat. Back off or I'll cut her, Brittany screamed. Dylan, what are you doing? I'm on your side. Shut up, Dylan's hand shook. Nobody's getting arrested today. We're walking out of here." Sophia remained perfectly calm, analyzing angles and distances with professional detachment. "You're making this worse for yourself. Assault, drug dealing, money laundering, and now kidnapping and threatening a federal witness? Your lawyer's going to need a miracle." "I said back off!" Dylan pressed the blade closer, drawing a thin line of blood. The bathroom door exploded off its hinges. SWAT officers poured through the destroyed doorway like a black wave, tactical gear gleaming under the harsh bathroom lights. Red laser dots danced across Dylan's forehead as multiple weapons trained on him. "FBI, drop the weapon, now!" The lead officer's voice boomed through the small space. Dylan's hand trembled violently, the blade wavering against Brittany's throat. "Stay back! I'll do it! Dylan Whitmore!" A calm, commanding voice cut through the chaos. FBI Director Marcus Bennett stepped into view, his presence immediately shifting the room's energy. He wore a pristine black suit, his badge prominently displayed. His eyes found Sophia first, conducting a quick assessment before focusing on Dylan. "You have exactly 3 seconds to release Miss Vale." 3. "You don't understand," Dylan's voice cracked. "My father owns this town. He owns the police. 2. I'll kill her. I swear I will." 1. Sophia moved. Using the distraction of her father's countdown, she struck with surgical precision. Her hand shot out, hitting a pressure point on Dylan's wrist that made his fingers spasm involuntarily. The knife clattered to the floor as Brittany stumbled forward into the waiting arms of an agent. Dylan spun toward Sophia, rage and desperation mixing in his eyes. He swung wildly, but she ducked under his arm, grabbed his wrist, and used his momentum to flip him onto the wet bathroom floor. The impact knocked the wind from his lungs. "Clear!" Sophia called out, stepping back as agents swarmed Dylan. "Sophia, are you hurt?" Director Bennett approached his daughter, his professional mask slipping to reveal paternal concern. "I'm fine, Dad." Sophia wiped spaghetti sauce from her face. "Got everything we needed." Jake and Ethan were already face down on the floor, hands cuffed behind their backs. Brittany sat against the wall, hyperventilating as an agent read her rights. "Dylan Whitmore," Director Bennett stood over the gasping boy. "You're under arrest for narcotics trafficking, money laundering, assault, battery, and suspicion of murder in the deaths of 3 students. You have the right to remain silent." "My father will destroy you," Dylan screamed as they hauled him to his feet. "You have no idea who you're messing with." "Richard Whitmore?" Director Bennett smiled grimly. "Your father's being arrested at his office right now. The Whitmore Industries pharmaceutical empire? It's finished. 23 years of using this school to launder cartel money, and it all ends today." The color drained from Dylan's face as the reality hit him. This wasn't a targeted bust. It was a complete dismantling of everything his family had built. As they marched the gang members through Preston Elite's hallways, students pressed against classroom windows, phones recording every moment. The mighty had fallen, and everyone wanted to witness it. In the cafeteria, more arrests were underway. Principal Hammond was in handcuffs, his face a mask of defeat. 5 teachers were lined up against the wall as agents searched their belongings. The security guard who'd ignored Sophia's assault was being questioned. 47 arrests so far, Agent Rodriguez reported to Director Bennett. The basement laboratory is secured. Hazmat is processing enough fentanyl to supply half of Connecticut. Sophia walked beside her father, no longer the cowering scholarship girl, but a confident young woman who'd risked everything for justice. Students stared in shock, unable to reconcile the girl they'd ignored for months with the trained operative before them. 3 months of this, Director Bennett said quietly to his daughter. "I'm proud of you, but I hated every minute. Those 3 kids deserved justice, Dad. Stephen, Ashley, David. They were someone's children, too. When the first intelligence came in about murders disguised as suicides, we couldn't ignore it. They reached the main entrance, where news vans were already gathering. Reporters shouted questions as suspects were loaded into federal vehicles. "The basement!" Agent Rodriguez called out, jogging over. "Director, you need to see this." They descended into what had once been Preston Elite's old bomb shelter, converted into something far more sinister. Behind hidden panels, agents had discovered a sophisticated drug laboratory. But that wasn't the worst part. "Over here." Rodriguez led them to a section of concrete wall that looked newer than the rest. Ground-penetrating radar shows 2 anomalies. Sophia turned away as forensic teams began carefully excavating. She'd known intellectually that students had died, but seeing the reality was different. These weren't just names in a file anymore. Ashley Morrison tried to leave the gang junior year, Rodriguez explained quietly. Stephen Chen threatened to go to the police, both transferred to other schools according to records. Records Hammond falsified, Director Bennett added. Their parents received forged letters, staged photos from their new schools. By the time anyone suspected, the trail was cold. Sophia thought about all the meals she'd eaten alone, all the taunts she'd endured, all the times she'd wanted to blow her cover and fight back. 3 months of hell, but those murdered students had suffered worse. Back upstairs, Preston Elite looked like a crime scene from a movie. Yellow tape everywhere, agents cataloging evidence, shell-shocked students being interviewed. The reign of terror was over, but the trauma would linger. Dylan was the last to be loaded into a transport vehicle. As he passed Sophia, he stopped, guards flanking him closely. "You destroyed everything," he said, his voice hollow. "My family, my future, everything." "No," Sophia met his gaze steadily. "You did that yourself. The moment you decided other people's lives were worthless, you wrote your own ending. I just made sure you faced consequences." "This isn't over," Dylan hissed. "You think you got everyone? The network is bigger than Preston Elite, bigger than you can imagine." The guards shoved him forward before he could say more, but his words left a chill in the air. As the FBI convoy departed, Sophia stood in the empty cafeteria with her father. The VIP table where everything had started looked small and insignificant now. Just a regular lunch table that insecure children had turned into a symbol of power. "The network?" Sophia asked her father. Director Bennett's expression darkened. "We've been tracking references to it for years. Preston Elite was supposed to be an isolated operation, but if Dylan's telling the truth, there are other schools. Possibly dozens. Private academies with wealthy students. Perfect fronts for money laundering and drug distribution. Preston gave us a blueprint. But taking down one tentacle doesn't kill the octopus." Sophia felt the weight of that revelation. She'd thought this was the end, but perhaps it was just the beginning. Media coverage exploded over the following days. "Elite Academy drug ring exposed by teen FBI operative" dominated headlines. Sophia's identity was protected as a minor, but the story captured national attention. 47 arrests, including prominent business leaders and politicians. 2 bodies recovered from the basement. A drug operation worth hundreds of millions shut down. But as Sophia cleaned out her locker a week later, preparing to leave Preston Elite forever, she found something that made her blood run cold. A single piece of paper tucked between her textbooks. Preston was just practice. The network remembers. A friend. She examined the note carefully. Expensive paper, Laser-printed text, no fingerprints. Professional. Her secure phone buzzed with an encrypted message. The sender was blocked. The text simple. Riverside Academy, Columbus Prep, Thornfield Institute. Want to be a hero again? Sophia stared at the message, her mind racing. 3 more schools. 3 more potential operations. How many students were suffering right now? How many were being recruited into crime? How many would die if nobody acted? She thought about the past 3 months. The isolation, the fear, the constant vigilance. Living a lie, enduring abuse, watching crimes unfold while maintaining her cover. Could she do it again? Should she? Her phone buzzed again. This time, a photo. A young girl, maybe 14, standing outside Riverside Academy. The caption read, "Missing 3 weeks. Parents think she transferred." Sound familiar? The decision crystallized in that moment. Sophia typed her response, "Send me the files." As she walked out of Preston Elite for the last time, Sophia Bennett understood her life had fundamentally changed. She'd exposed one monster, but an entire ecosystem of predators remained hidden in America's most prestigious schools. Behind her, Preston Elite stood empty and wounded, its victims seeking therapy, its criminals facing justice. But ahead lay more schools, more secrets, more missing children who deserved someone to fight for them. Her father waited in the parking lot, watching her approach with knowing eyes. "The network messages?" She nodded, showing him the phone. "It's your choice," he said carefully. "You've already done more than anyone could ask. You could return to a normal life, regular school, regular teenager things." Sophia thought about normal, about sitting in calculus class while somewhere another Stephen Chen was being silenced, about going to prom while another Ashley Morrison disappeared, about living safely while predators in designer suits destroyed young lives for profit. "Dad," she said quietly, "we both know I never had a choice." Marcus Bennett hugged his daughter, pride and fear warring in his expression. "Which school first?" "Riverside. The missing girl. We might still have time." As they drove away from Preston Elite, Sophia realized she'd found her calling in the most unlikely way. She'd walked into that cafeteria as bait, endured humiliation as strategy, and emerged as something unprecedented. A teenage specialist in taking down criminal academic enterprises. The war against the network had begun. One operative, one school at a time, one saved life, making all the pain worthwhile. In the rearview mirror, Preston Elite grew smaller until it vanished entirely. But Sophia wasn't looking back anymore. She was already studying Riverside Academy's layout, planning her next character, preparing for her next mission. The quiet girl from the cafeteria was gone. In her place stood something far more dangerous. A hunter who looked like prey, a warrior who fought with evidence instead of violence, a teenager who'd learned that sometimes the best way to destroy a monster was to let it think it had already won. "One wolf has fallen," she murmured, remembering Dylan's transport driving away. "But the pack still hunts in the shadows." The network was watching, but now someone was watching back.